Winds of silence blow through my soul. Paths unknown begin to unfold. Shadows whisper truths untold. In this void I find my role. Oh, spirits guide me through the stream. Life and death are but a dream. Bardo's echo rides the beam, flowing through the cosmic theme. Mountains crumble, ashes rain. Stillness speaks through joy and pain. Climbing higher, I'll shed my chain, till only the essence will remain. Through the veil the visions spin. Wheels of karma turn within. Breath by breath I start again, melting in the eternal skin. Oh, spirits guide me through the stream. Life and death are but a dream. Bardo's echo rides the beam, flowing through the cosmic theme. Heart to sky and dust to ground, rising where no end is found. Silence hums its endless sound. In the void, my soul is bound. To sky and dust to ground, rising where no end is found. Silence hums its endless sound. In the void, my soul is bound. To sky and dust to ground, rising where no end is found. Silence hums its endless sound. In the void, my soul is bound. Of silence blow through my soul. Paths unknown begin to unfold. Shadows whisper truths untold. In this void I find my role. Oh, spirits guide me through the stream. Life and death are but a dream. Bardo's echo rides the beam, flowing through the cosmic theme. Mountains crumble, ashes rain. Stillness speaks through joy and pain. Climbing higher, I'll shed my chain, till only the essence will remain. Through the veil the visions spin. Wheels of karma turn within. Breath by breath I start again, melting in the eternal skin. Oh, spirits guide me through the stream, life and death upon a dream. Bardo Thodol rides the beam, flowing through the cosmic theme. Heart to sky and dust to ground, rising where no end is found. Silence hums its endless sound, in the void my soul is bound.
Hello, and welcome again to the Finding Gnosis Show. This is episode 37. So today, folks, we are going to commence the reading of the Tibetan Book of the Dead, okay? And yes, and it's also known as the Bardo Thodol, okay? It's a sacred text that comes from Tibetan Buddhism, and it's meant to guide the soul through the experiences that unfold after death, in the intermediate state called the Bardo, before rebirth. So it's not just a book about dying, it's a book about awareness. It's a spiritual map. It's a mirror held up to the mind, and it speaks in symbols, visions, and poetry, describing radiant deities, peaceful and wrathful beings, and the illusions that rise from our own consciousness. So, guys, traditionally, this book is read aloud to the dying, or even after death, to help the soul recognize the nature of reality and move towards liberation. So yes, as we move through its passages tonight, I invite you to listen with an open heart, not just as words about death, but perhaps as teachings about life, impermanence, and awakening. Just maybe, we may well find some gnosis. I do hope you are extremely well, and it's nice to have some of you here already. So we have Vodistas here. Hello, good to have you here. King Capricornio, nice to have you here. And of course, the lovely Divine Hazel shows up as ever in the comments. Good to see you again, Divine. I hope you're well. Yes, so I suppose we can begin reading very soon, unless anybody wants to wait around for any particular reason or to say something. Do let me know. But otherwise, we will just start the reading of the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Okay, just one moment. I'm going to turn off the music. There we go. And we'll get going, because time is of the essence, you know. We want to read this before we die. So yeah, welcome to you all, and we will start reading the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Okay, so this book is the first English translation of the famous Tibetan Book of the Dead. This book is the first English language translation of the famous Tibetan death text, The Great Liberation Upon Hearing in the Intermediate State. Also known as the Bardo Thodol, which means liberation by hearing on the after-death plane. Bardo, which is after-death plane. Thodol or Thotrol is equal to liberation by hearing. It was originally written in the Tibetan language and is meant to be a guide for those who have died as they transition from their former life to a new destination. Okay. The work has been traditionally attributed to Padmasambhava, an Indian mystic who was said to have introduced Buddhism to Tibet in the 8th century. Legend has it that while visiting Tibet, Padmasambhava found it necessary to conceal Sanskrit works he had arranged to be written. The Tibetans of that time were not ready for the spiritual teachings contained therein, so he hid his texts in strange and remote locations, leaving them to be discovered at a later time, when their spiritual message could be received by those with an open mind. The most famous of those that were discovered and revealed, Pamda Sambhava's writings, of Pamda Sambhava's writings was Karma Lingpa. Oh, sorry, guys, I read that wrong. The most famous of those that discovered and reveals Padma Sambhava's writings was Karma Lingpa, who was born around 1350 in the Common Era. According to his biography, Karma Lingpa found several hidden texts on top of a mountain in Tibet, which when he was 15 years old. Within those texts, he found a collection of teachings entitled The Self-Emergence of the Peaceful and Wrathful Deities from Enlightened Awareness. These teachings contained the text of the now famous Great Liberation upon hearing in the Bardo. The Tibetan Book of the Dead was first published in 1927 by Oxford University Press, London. Dr. Walter Y. Evans Vance coined the title because of parallels he found with the writings of the Egyptian Book of the Dead. So that's interesting already, guys. There are commonalities, parallels, similarities with the Egyptian Book of the Dead. The paperback and hardcover editions of the book contain extensive notes by Evans Vance about the conclusions he drew from the translation, which some say were greatly influenced by his involvement with theosophy and neo-Vedantic Hindu views. A later edition of the book includes commentary by the renowned psychoanalyst Dr. Carl Jung, whose insightful essay illustrates that this Tibetan text goes beyond a study of Tibetan culture and reaches into a psychology that has great relevance to the Western world. Okay, so book one, okay, the Chika Bardo and the Konyid Bardo. Herein lieth the setting face to face to the reality in the intermediate state, the great deliverance by hearing while on the after-death plane from the profound doctrine of the emancipating of the consciousness by meditation upon the peaceful and wrathful deities. Okay. The obeisances to the divine body of truth, the incomprehensible, boundless light, to the divine body of the perfect endowment, who are the lotus and the peaceful and the wrathful deities, to the lotus-born incarnation, Padma Sambhava, who is the protector of all sentient beings, to the gurus, the three bodies, obeisance. The great doctrine of liberation by hearing, which confers spiritual freedom on devotees of ordinary wit, while in the intermediate state, had three divisions: the preliminaries, the subject matter, and the conclusion. At first, the preliminaries, the guide series for emancipating beings, should be mastered by practice. Okay, so special focus, guys, on the preliminaries. Okay, so I'm going to go back here to the very beginning, and I'm going to look up what this means. The Chikai Bardo and the Chonyid Bardo. I will be right back if you bear with me. If you're going to do this, you may as well do it properly, eh? We are today reading the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Aloud in public. So the Chikai Bardo is the... Okay. In the Tibetan Book of the Dead, the journey after death is divided into stages called bardos, or in-between states. Okay. The Chikai Bardo is the first of these stages. Chikai means moment of death. Okay, so remember that, guys. If I forget, hopefully you'll remember. Chikai means a moment of death. This is when the physical body dies and the consciousness begins to separate. In this stage, the person may experience a brilliant clear light, often called the primordial light. If one recognizes this light, it is possible to achieve liberation immediately. But if the light is too overwhelming or unrecognized, the soul continues on its journey. Okay, guys, the second stage is the Chonyid Bardo, which means the Bardo of the experiencing of reality. In this phase, the consciousness encounters a series of peaceful and wrathful deities, projections of the mind itself. These visions are symbolic and intense, offering further chances for awakening. Again, if recognized for what they are, manifestations of one's own consciousness, they can lead to enlightenment. Okay, guys, that's interesting. So, Chonyed Bardo means experiencing of reality. So basically, okay, in this phase, the consciousness encounters a series of peaceful and wrathful deities, projections of one's own mind. And these visions are symbolic and intense, offering further chances for awakening. Again, if recognized for what they are, manifestations of one's own consciousness. So that can lead to enlightenment. Right. Right, guys, we will go onwards. I think we're here, right? We've read the introduction. Yes. The transference of consciousness principle by the guide, the highest intellects ought most certainly to be liberated. But should they not be liberated, then while in the intermediate state of the moment of death, they should practice the transference, which giveth automatic liberation by one's merely remembering it. Devotees of ordinary wit ought most certainly to be freed thereby. But should they not be freed, then while in the intermediate state, during the experiencing of reality, they should persevere in the listening to this great doctrine of liberation by hearing. So remember, guys, this is actually read to someone just before they die or even just after they've died, usually. But I suppose it's good to know, isn't it? Just in case there's no one there to read it to you. If you die at an inopportune moment, or if you don't like people very much and you choose to die alone or whatever, if you just die one day randomly, no one's around, it's good to have this knowledge, for time before it occurs. Just in case, just in case. Anyway, accordingly, the devotee should at first examine the symptoms of death as they gradually appear in his dying body. So be aware of the death, analyze it almost scientifically, feel it, know it. And following self-liberation by observing the characteristics of the symptoms of death, okay? Then, when all the symptoms of death are complete, he should apply the transference, which conferreth liberation by merely remembering the process. Okay, the reading of this Thodol. If the transference have been effectually employed, there is no need to read this Thodol. But if the transference have not been effectually employed, then this Thodol is to be read correctly and distinctly near the dead body. If there be no corpse, then the bed or the seat to which the deceased has been accustomed should be occupied by the reader, who ought to expound the power of the truth. Then, summoning the spirit of the deceased, imagine it to be present there listening, and read. During this time, no relative or fond mate should be allowed to weep or to wail, as such is not good for the deceased. So restrain them. If the body be present just when the expiration hath ceased, enter either a lama who hath been as a guru to the deceased, or a brother in the faith whom the deceased trusted, or a friend for whom the deceased had great affection, putting the lips close to the ear of the body without actually touching it, should read this great Thodol. Okay, so guys, we'll go back and see what a Thodol means again, because I want to remember. I know I just probably read it, right? Okay, so Thodol, sometimes spelled, Thodol, is actually part of the full title of the Tibetan Book of the Dead. The original Tibetan name of the text is Bardo Thodol. Okay, remember, Thodol is equal to liberation through hearing. Okay, so that's what it actually means, guys. Thodol, liberation through hearing. So that is why this text here that we just read is talking about reading it to the dead body and making sure there's no distraction, so no one crying, wailing, or weeping in the near vicinity, so that the the dying person or the soul of the dead person can hear without distraction. Okay, so here we go, the practical application of this Thodol by the officiant. Now for the explaining of the Thodol itself. If thou canst gather together a grand offering, offer it in the worship of the Trinity. If such cannot be done, then arrange whatever can be gathered together as objects on which thou canst concentrate thy thoughts and mentally create as illimitable an offering as possible and worship. Okay. Then the path of good wishes, invoking the aid of the Buddhas and their bodhisattvas, should be recited 7 times or thrice. Okay, so that's 7 or 3 times. After that, the path of good wishes, giving protection from fear in the Bardo. And remember, guys, I know we're at the beginning, so we will keep repeating what these means. Bardo is the in-between state, okay, the transitional state, specifically the state between death and rebirth, okay. Okay, so then the path of good wishes, invoking the aid of the Buddhas and the bodhisattvas, should be recited 7 times or 3 times. After that, the path of good wishes, giving protection from fear in the Bardo, in the in-between state, and the path of good wishes for safe delivery from the dangerous pitfalls of the Bardo. It, together with the root words of the Bardo, are to be read distinctly and with proper intonation. Then this great Thodol is to be either read 7 times or thrice, according to the occasion. First cometh the setting face to face to the symptoms of death as they occur during the moments of death, so as the person is dying. And secondly, the application of the great vivid reminder, the setting face to face to reality while in the intermediate state. That's in the position between death and rebirth. And third, the methods of closing the doors of the womb while in the intermediate state when seeking rebirth. Okay. The Chikai Bardo and the Chonyid Bardo. Okay. And remember, guys, we'll go back to what those actually mean, because I know we're just hearing this for the first time, some of us. So we need to remember. So Chikai Bardo means moment of death. Okay. And Chonyid Bardo means Bardo of the experiencing of reality. Okay. Yes, and that's when you get met with all these different peaceful and wrathful deities deities, projections of one's mind itself. And if you can recognize that these are mere manifestations of one's own consciousness, you can lead yourself to enlightenment. Vodista says that would explain why in near-death experiences everyone often sees that which they believe in, if it's just a projection of their own mind. Yes, Vodistas, that has been speculated before. That's why people do see whoever it is they worship in life. For example, Jesus, maybe Muhammad, or Krishna, or whatever they believe in. The spaghetti flying monster. Right, onwards. So here we go. The Chikai Bardo and the Chonyid Bardo. The obeisances, the introduction. Okay. Okay, so we'll go on to the introduction. I think this is just the contents page. Yes. Part 1. The Bardo of the moments of death. Instructions on the symptoms of death, or the first stage of the Chikai Bardo. Chikai Bardo, can anybody remember what that means? It means the moment of death, folks. You should know that by now. I should. The primary, so instructions on the symptoms of death, or the first stage of the Chikai Bardo, the primary clear light seen at the moment of death. The first, the setting face to face with the clear light during the intermediate state of the moment of death is. Here, some there may be, who have listened much to religious instructions, yet not recognized, and some who, though recognizing, are nevertheless weak in familiarity. But all classes of individuals who have received the practical teachings called guides will, if this be applied to them, be set face to face with the fundamental clear light. And without any intermediate state, they will obtain the unborn Dharmakya by the great perpendicular path. The manner of application is, it is best if the guru from whom the deceased received guiding instructions can be had. But if the guru cannot be obtained, then a brother of the faith, or if the latter is also unobtainable, then a learned man of the same faith, or should all these be unobtainable, then a person who can read correctly and distinctly ought to read this many times over. Thereby, the deceased will be put in mind of what he had previously heard of the setting face to face, and will at once come to recognize that fundamental light and undoubtedly obtain liberation. As regards the time for the application of these instructions, when the expiration bath ceased, the vital, when the expiration have ceased, the vital force will have sunk into the nerve center of wisdom, and the knower will be experiencing the clear light of the natural condition. Then the vital force, being thrown backwards and flying downwards through the right and left nerves, the intermediate state momentarily draws. The above directions should be applied before the vital force hath rushed into the left nerve, after having first traversed the navel nerve center. The time ordinarily necessary for this motion of the vital force is as long as the inspiration is still present, or about the time required for eating a meal. Then the manner of the application of the instructions is, when the breathing is about to cease, it is best if the transference hath been applied efficiently. If the application hath been inefficient, then address the deceased thus: O nobly born, so and so by name, the time hath now come for thee to seek the path in reality. Thy breathing is about to cease. Thy guru hath set thee face to face before with the clear light, and now thou art about to experience it in its reality in the Bardo state, wherein all things are like the void and cloudless sky, and the naked, spotless intellect is like unto a transparent vacuum without circumference or center. At this moment, know thyself and abide in that state. I too, at this time, am setting thee face to face. Having read this, repeat it many times in the ear of the dying person, even before the expiration hath ceased, so as to impress it on the mind of the dying one. If the expiration is about to cease, turn the dying one over on the right side, which posture is called the lying posture of a lion. The throbbing of the arteries on the right and left side of the throat is to be pressed. If the person dying be disposed to sleep, or if the sleeping state advances, that should be arrested and the arteries pressed gently but firmly. Thereby, the vital force will not be able to return from the median nerve and will be sure to pass out through the Brahmanic aperture. Now, the real setting face to face is to be applied. At this moment, the first glimpsing of the Bardo, of the clear light of reality, which is the ineffable mind of the Dharmakaya, is experienced by all sentient beings. The interval between the cessation of the expiration and the cessation of the inspiration is the time during which the vital force remaineth in the median nerve. The common people call this the state wherein the consciousness principle hath fainted away. The duration of this state is uncertain. It dependeth upon the constitution, good or bad, and the state of the nerves and vital force. In those who have had even a little practical experience of the firm, tranquil state of dhyana, and in those who have sound nerves, this state continueth for a long time. In the setting face to face, the repetition of the above address to the deceased is to be persisted in until a yellowish liquid beginneth to appear from the various apertures of the bodily organs of the deceased. In those who have led an evil life, and in those of unsound nerves, the above state endureth only so long as would take to snap a finger. Again, in some it endureth as long as the time taken for the eating of a meal. In various tantras, it is said that this state of swoon endureth for about 3½ days. Most other religious treatises say for 4 days, and that this setting face to face with the clear light ought to be persevered in during the whole time. The manner of applying these directions is, if, when dying, one by one's own self capable of diagnosing the symptoms of death, use of the knowledge should have been made ere this. If the dying person be unable to do so, then either the guru or a shishya, or a brother in the faith with whom the one dying was very intimate, should be kept at hand, who will vividly impress upon the one dying the symptoms of death as they appear in due order, repeatedly saying at first thus, "Now the symptoms of earth sinking into water are come." When all the symptoms of death are about to be completed, then enjoin upon the one dying this resolution, speaking in a low tone of voice in the ear. "O nobly born," or if it be a priest, "O venerable sir, let not thy mind be distracted." If it be a brother in faith or some other person, they call him by his name and say thus, "O nobly born, that which is called death being come to thee now, resolve thus, O this now is the hour of death. By taking advantage of this death, I will so act for the good of all sentient beings, peopling the illimitable expanse of the heavens, as to obtain the perfect Buddhahood by resolving on love and compassion towards them, and by directing my entire effort to the soul perfection. Shaping the thoughts thus, especially at this time when the Dharmakaya of the clear light in the state after death can be realized for the benefit of all sentient beings, knowing that thou art in that state, and resolve that thou wilt obtain the best boon of the state of the great symbol in which thou art, as follows. Even if I cannot realize it yet will I know this Bardo, and mastering the great body of union in Bardo, will appear in whatever shape will benefit all beings, whomsoever. I will serve all sentient beings, infinite in number as are the limits of the sky. Keeping thyself unseparated from this resolution, thou shouldst try to remember whatever devotional practices thou went accustomed to perform during thy lifetime. In saying this, the reader shall put his lips close to the ear and shall repeat it distinctly, clearly impressing it upon the dying person so as to prevent his mind from wandering, even for a moment. After the expiration hath completely ceased, press the nerve of sleep firmly, and a lama, or a person higher or more learned than thyself, impress in these words thus: Reverend Sir, now that thou art experiencing the fundamental clear light, try to abide in that state which now thou art experiencing. And also, in the case of any other person, the reader shall set him face to face thus: O nobly born, and so, listen. Now thou art experiencing the radiance of the clear light of pure reality. Recognize it, O nobly born, thy present intellect in real nature void, not formed into anything as regards characteristics or color, naturally void, is the very reality, the all good. Thine own intellect, which is now voidness, yet not to be regardness as of the voidness of nothingness, but as being the intellect itself, unobstructed, shining, thrilling, and blissful, is the very consciousness, the all-good Buddha. Thine own consciousness, not formed into anything in reality void, and the intellect shining and blissful, these two are inseparable. The union of them is the Dharmakaya state of perfect enlightenment. Thine own consciousness, shining void and inseparable from the great body of radiance, hath no birth nor death, and is the immutable light, Buddha Amitabha. Knowing this is sufficient, recognizing the voidness of thine own intellect to be Buddhahood, and looking upon it as thine own consciousness, is to keep thyself in the state of the divine mind of the Buddha. Repeat this distinctly and clearly 3 or even 7 times. That will recall to the mind of the dying one the former, that is, when living, setting face to face by the guru. Secondly, it will cause the naked consciousness to be recognized as the clear light. And thirdly, recognizing one's own self, thus one becometh permanently united with the Dharmakaya, and liberation will be certain. Okay, guys. So we've read a little bit there. I will go back now, and we'll try and get a modern English or just a summary for us all so that we can take this in a little bit better. Obviously, this is a reading and a study. So hopefully we can take it in a bit better if we hear it again, and maybe have some explanatory notes on what has been said. So just bear with me. I do hope you're well if you are listening. And we have a listener on Twitch. Do say hello if you're listening on Twitch. We're live on Twitch tonight. So nice to have you with us. We're reading the Tibetan Book of the Dead. We're also live on YouTube and Facebook. This is the Finding Gnosis Show. Okay, guys. So this is part one, the Bardo of the Moment of Death. Okay, the Chika Bardo. The first part of the Tibetan Book of the Dead is a sacred guide for the moment of death, offering instructions to help the soul recognize the clear light of reality. The ultimate nature of the mind and attain liberation. At the exact moment of death, the consciousness experiences a profound radiant light, the primordial clear light. If the dying person has been prepared through spiritual practice, they may recognize this light as their true nature and instantly attain enlightenment, merging with the Dharmakaya, the formless body of truth. So the text then instructs that this recognition should be supported by someone reading the words of the book aloud, ideally a teacher, spiritual friend, or anyone who can clearly, compassionately speak guidance. These instructions are to be read to the person as they're dying or immediately after the breath has ceased. Key steps here, guys, include placing the dying person in the lion's posture, lying on the right side, recognizing signs of death like the fading of breath and inner movement of energy, and repeating the sacred words that help the consciousness stay present and avoid confusion. So the dying person is reminded, "O nobly born, now you are experiencing the radiant clear light of pure reality. Recognize it. This is your true mind, unobstructed and shining." This stage is known as the first Bardo, and it may last only a brief moment or up to several days, depending on the soul's spiritual readiness. If the clear light is not recognized, the soul continues into the next phase of the journey. Okay, guys. So we will continue reading. I'm just going to put on a jumper just one moment. It's getting a bit chilly. A little bit chilly. So I don't know if anybody watching has read this book before, the Tibetan Book of the Dead. You can let us know in the comments. But we will now keep going. So here are the instructions concerning the second stage of the Chikai Bardo, the secondary clear light seen immediately after death. So thus, the primary clear light is recognized and liberation attained. But if it be feared that the primary clear light hath not been recognized, then it can certainly be assumed there is dawning upon the deceased that called the secondary clear light, which dawneth in somewhat more than a mealtime period after the expiration hath ceased. According to one's good or bad karma, the vital force floweth down into either the right or the left nerve and goeth out through any of the apertures of the body. Then cometh a lucid condition of the mind. To say that the state of the primary clear light endure for a mealtime period would depend upon the good or bad condition of the nerves, and also whether there hath been previous practice or not in the setting face to face. When the consciousness principle getteth outside the body, it saith to itself, "Am I dead or am I not dead?" It cannot determine. It seeth its relatives and connections as it had been used to seeing them before. It even heareth the wailings. The terrifying karmic illusions have not yet dawned, nor have the frightful apparitions or experiences caused by the lords of death yet come. During this interval, the directions are to be applied by Lama or reader. There are those devotees of the perfected stage and of the visualizing stage. If it be one who was in the perfected stage, then call him thrice by name and repeat over and over again the above instructions of setting face to face with the clear light. If it be one who was in the visualizing stage, then read out to him introductory descriptions and the text of the meditation on his tutelary deity. and then say, O thou of noble birth, meditate upon thine own tutelary deity. Here the deity's name is to be mentioned by the reader. Do not be distracted. Earnestly concentrate thy mind upon the tutelary deity. Meditate upon him as if he were the reflection of the moon in water, apparent yet inexistent in itself. Meditate upon him as if he were a being with a physical body. So saying the reader will impress it. If the deceased be of common folk, say, meditate upon the great compassionate Lord. By thus being set face to face, even those who would not be expected to recognize the bardo unaided are undoubtedly certain to recognize it. Persons who while living had been face to face with the reality by a guru, yet who have not made themselves familiar with it, will not be able to recognize the bardo clearly by themselves. Now, remember, guys, Bardo is the place between. It's the in-between place between death and rebirth. Either a guru or a brother in faith will have to impress vividly such persons. There may even be those who have made themselves familiar with the teachings, yet who, because of the violence of the disease causing death, may be mentally unstable to withstand illusions. For such also, the instruction is absolutely necessary. Again, there are those who, although previously familiar with the teachings, have become liable to pass into the miserable states of existence owing to breach of vows or failure to perform essential obligations honestly. To them, this instruction is indispensable. If the first stage of the Bardo path been taken by the forelock, that is best. But if not, by application of the distinct recalling to the deceased, while in the second stage of the bardo, his intellect is awakened and attaineth liberation. While on the second stage of the bardo, one's body is of the nature of that called the shining illusory body. Not knowing whether he be dead or not, a state of lucidity cometh to the deceased. If the instructions be successfully applied to the deceased while he is in that state, then by the meeting of the mother reality and the offspring reality, karma controlleth not. Like the sun's rays, for example, dispelling the darkness, the clear light on the path dispelleth the power of karma. That which is called the second stage of the bardo dawneth upon the thought body. The knower hovereth within those places to which its activities had been limited. If at this time this special teaching be applied efficiently, then the purpose will be fulfilled, for the karmic illusions will not have come yet, and therefore he, the deceased, cannot be turned hither and thither from his aim of achieving enlightenment. Okay. Now we are moving on, guys, to part 3. The bardo of the experiencing of reality. Mohammed is here. Mohammed says, I did not read the Tibetan book, but a channel that I follow produces content like yours. Corporeal Fantasy, once Martin and Butler, now have advised that book numerously. Oh, so he advises you to read this book. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for being here, Mohammed. Good to have you here. The Bardo of Experiencing of Reality, introductory instructions concerning the experiencing of reality during the third stage of the Bardo, called the Chonyed Bardo, when the karmic apparitions appear. Okay, guys, so don't forget, this is when the peaceful and wrathful deities appear, and one must remember these are all manifestations of one's own mind. And even though the primary clear light cannot be recognized, the clear light of the second bardo being recognized, liberation will be obtained. If not liberated even by that, then that called the third Bardo, or the Chonyid Bardo, dawneth. So this is when it starts, guys, for those who have not been liberated by the recognizing the light. In this third stage of the Bardo, and the Bardo, guys, remember, is the place between death and rebirth. In this third stage of the Bardo, the karmic illusions come to shine. It is very important that this great setting face to face of the Chonyid Bardo be read. It hath much power and can do much good. About this time, the deceased can see that the share of food is being set aside, that the body is being stripped of its garments, and the place of the sleeping rug is being swept. They can hear all the weeping and wailing of his friends and relatives, and although he can see them and can hear them calling upon him, they cannot hear him calling upon them, so he goeth away displeased. At this time, sounds, lights, and rays, all three are experienced. These awe, frighten, and terrify and cause much fatigue. At this moment, this setting face to face with the Bardo during the experiencing of reality is to be applied. Call the deceased by name and correctly and distinctly explain to him as follows: O nobly born, listen with full attention without being distracted. There are 6 states of Bardo, namely the natural state of Bardo while in the womb, the Bardo of the dream state, the Bardo of ecstatic equilibrium while in deep meditation, the Bardo of the moment of death, the Bardo during the experiencing of reality, and the Bardo of the inverse process of samsaric existence. These are the 6. O nobly born, thou wilt experience 3 Bardos: the Bardo of the moment of death, the Bardo during the experiencing of reality, and the Bardo while seeking rebirth. Of these 3, up to yesterday, thou hadst experienced the Bardo of the moment of death. Although the clear light of reality dawned upon thee, thou wert unable to hold on, and so thou hast to wander here. Now, henceforth, thou art going to experience the other 2, the Chonyid Bardo and the Sidpa Bardo. Thou wilt pay undistracted attention to that which I am about to set thee face to face, and hold on. O nobly born, that which is called death hath come now. Thou art departing from this world, but thou art not the only one. Death cometh to all. Do not cling in fondness and weakness to this life. Even though thou clingest out of weakness, thou hast not the power to remain here. Thou wilt gain nothing more than wandering in this samsara. Be not attached to this world. Be not weak. Remember the precious Trinity. Okay. I'm going to look up what it means by the Trinity, because I'm not entirely sure and I'd like to know. Okay, so in Tibetan Buddhism, the term precious Trinity often refers to the 3 jewels, also known as the 3 refuges. So the Buddha is one, the awakened teacher, the Dharma, the path and the teachings, and the Sangha, which is the spiritual community. These are considered the foundational supports for all spiritual practice, and practitioners often take refuge in this Trinity for guidance and protection, especially at the moment of death. So in the context of the Tibetan Book of the Dead, guys, precious Trinity refers to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, the triple sources of spiritual refuge during the transition through the Bardos. Okay, so now we know. Yes. O nobly born, whatever fear and terror may come to thee in the Chonyid Bardo, forget not these words, and bearing their meaning at heart, go forwards. In them lieth the vital secret of recognition. Alas, when the uncertain experiencing of reality is dawning upon me here, with every thought of fear or terror or awe for all apparitional appearances set aside, may I recognize whatever visions appear as the reflections of mine own consciousness. May I know them to be of the nature of apparitions in the Bardo. When at all this all important moment of opportunity of achieving a great end, may I not fear the bands of peaceful and wrathful deities, mine own thought forms. Repeat thou these verses clearly, and remembering their significance as thou repeatest them, go forwards, O nobly born. Thereby, whatever visions of awe or terror appear, recognition is certain, and forget not this vital secret art lying therein. O nobly born, when thy body and mind were separating, thou must have experienced a glimpse of the pure truth, subtle, sparkling, bright, dazzling, glorious, and radiantly awesome, in appearance like a mirage, moving across a landscape in springtime in one continuous stream of vibrations. Be not daunted thereby, nor terrified, nor awed. That is the radiance of thine own true nature. Recognize it. From the midst of that radiance, the natural sound of reality reverberating like 1,000 thunders simultaneously sounding will come. That is the natural sound of thine own real self. Be not daunted thereby, nor terrified, nor awed. The body which thou hast now is called the thought body of propensities. Since thou hast not a material body of flesh and blood, whatever may come, sounds, lights, or rays, are all three unable to harm thee. Thou art incapable of dying. It is quite sufficient for thee to know that these apparitions are thine own thought forms. Recognize this to be the Bardo. O nobly born, if thou dost not recognize thine own thought forms, whatever of meditation or devotions thou mayst have performed while in the human world, if thou hast not met with this present teaching, the light will daunt thee, the sounds will awe thee, and the rays will terrify thee. Shouldst thou not know this all-important key to the teachings, not being able to recognize the sounds, lights, and rays, thou wilt have to wander in samsara. Okay, so then we move on, guys, to the dawning of the peaceful deities from the 1st to the 7th day. Assuming that the deceased is karmically bound, as the average departed one is, to pass through the 49 days of the Bardo existence, despite the very frequent settings face to face, the daily trials and dangers which he must meet and attempt to triumph over during the first 7 days, wherein dawn the peaceful deities, are next explained to him in detail. The first day, judging from the text, being reckoned from the time in which normally he would be expected to wake up to the fact that he is dead and on the way back to rebirth, or about 3.5 to 4 days after death. Okay, guys, we will take a quick tea break. So please go and get a cup of tea or whatever. And I'm going to go and boil the kettle and make a cup of tea. So we will quickly do that. And I'll be right back and we'll keep reading. I do hope you are well. I do.
Winds of silence blow through my soul. Paths unknown begin to unfold. Shadows whisper truths untold. In this void I find my role. Oh, spirits guide me through the stream. Life and death are but a dream. Bardo's echo rides the beam, flowing through the cosmic theme. Mountains crumble, ashes rain. Stillness speaks through joy and pain. Climbing higher, I'll shed my chain, till only the essence will remain. Through the veil the visions spin. Wheels of karma turn within. Breath by breath I start again, melting in the eternal skin. Oh, spirits guide me through the stream. Life and death are but a dream. Bardo's echo rides the beam, flowing through the cosmic theme. Heart to sky and dust to ground, rising where no end is found. Silence hums its endless sound. In the void, my soul is bound. To sky and dust to ground, rising where no end is found. Silence hums its endless sound. In the void, my soul is bound.
I'm back. I do hope you're well. We're reading the Tibetan Book of the Dead tonight. Hello to Black Hole. Happy Good Friday. And you're watching the Passion of Christ right now. Well, I hope you're enjoying it. Hello to King Capricornio again, who's commenting. Hello to you all. I'll just turn down this music and we'll go onwards with the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Okay. So the first day, guys. The dawning of the peaceful deities from the first to the seventh day. This is when you will meet the good manifestations from your mind. O nobly born, thou hast been in a swoon during the last 3.5 days. As soon as thou art recovered from this swoon, thou wilt have the thought, what hath happened? Act so that thou wilt recognize the Bardo. At that time, all the samsara will be in revolution. Okay, guys. I'll give you the definition of samsara right now, because it is a word that you will hear a lot in this text. I have a vague idea, but I don't want to misquote it. So samsara is how it's often spelled in Tibetan texts, but it's also called samsara. It's a central concept, guys, in Buddhism, and especially important in the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Samsara or sangsara, it means cycle of birth and death and rebirth. Okay, it's the continuous, endless loop in which beings are reborn again and again, moving through different states of existence, human, animal, heavenly, hellish, depending on their karma actions. In Tibetan, it's often associated with dukkha, which is the unsatisfactoriness or suffering that comes from being trapped in this cycle. So people are trying to escape it, okay? And what causes samsara, guys? Samsara is fueled by ignorance of the true nature of reality, by attachment to ego, desires, and physical form, by aversion and harmful actions. Okay. And this is karma, guys. Because of these, beings continue to wander in Bardo state and are reborn into different realms of existence. So the goal, guys, in Tibetan Buddhist practice, as you should be able to conclude once we've finished reading the Tibetan Book of the Dead, is to wake up from samsara, and recognize the nature of the mind and achieve liberation, nirvana, or Buddhahood. So in our book here, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, this is often described, this liberation or Buddhahood is often described as merging with the clear light or Dharmakaya. Okay, guys. So we will keep reading. Then act so that thou wilt recognize the Bardo. At that time, all the samsara will be in revolution. So, guys, that's the circle of death, rebirth, and living and being in the Bardo states, guys. Okay, that is what Sangara means. Are we okay? Are we okay? In chat, let me know. So yes, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. So act so that thou will recognize the Bardo. At that time, all the samsara will be in revolution, and the phenomenal appearances that thou wilt see then will be the radiances and the deities. The whole heavens will appear deep blue. Then, from the central realm called the spreading forth of the seed, the Bhagwan Vairocana, white in color and seated upon a lion throne, bearing an 8-spoked wheel in his hand, and embraced by the mother of the space of heaven, will manifest himself to thee. It is the aggregate of matter resolved into its primordial state, which is the blue light. The wisdom of the Dharma Dhatu, blue in color, shining, transparent, glorious, dazzling, from the heart of Vairocana as the father mother, will shoot forth and strike against thee with a light so radiant that thou wilt scarcely be able to look at it. Along with it, there will also shine a dull white light from the Devas, which will strike against thee in thy front. Thereupon, because of the power of bad karma, the glorious blue light of the wisdom of the Dharma Dhatu will produce in thee fear and terror, and thou wilt, to flee from it, thou wilt beget a fondness for the dull white light of the Devas. At this stage, thou must not be awed by the divine blue light, which will appear shining and dazzling and glorious, and don't be startled by it either. That is the light of the Tathagata, called the light of the wisdom of the Dharma Dhatu. Put thy faith in it. Believe in it firmly and pray unto it, thinking in thy mind that it is the light proceeding from the heart of the Bhagwan Vairocana, coming to receive thee while in the dangerous ambuscade of the Bardo. That light is the light of the grace of Vairocana. Be not fond of the dull white light of the Devas. Be not attached to it. Be not weak. If thou be attached to it, thou wilt wander into the abodes of the devas and be drawn into the whirl of the 6 locusts. That is an interruption to obstruct thee on the path of liberation. Look not at it, instead, look at the bright blue light in deep faith. Put thy whole thought earnestly upon Vairocana and repeat after me this prayer. Alas, when wandering in the samsara because of intense stupidity, on the radiant light path of the Dharma Dhatu wisdom, may I be led by the Bhagavan Vairocana. May the Divine Mother of the Infinite Space be my rearguard. May I be led safely across the fearful ambush of the Bardo. May I be placed in the state of the all-perfect Buddhahood. Praying thus in intense humble faith, thou wilt merge in halo of rainbow light into the heart of Vairocana and obtain Buddhahood in Sambhogya Kaya, in the central realm of the densely packed. Just checking the comments. Divine Hazel says every Friday is good. So guys, briefly meditate on what I just read you while I go make my tea. It won't take long, believe me. But it would be good for you just to meditate on that. And I will be right back.
Winds of silence blow through my soul. Paths unknown begin to unfold. Shadows whisper truths untold. In this void I find my role. Oh, spirits guide me through the stream. Life and death are but a dream. Bardo's echo rides the beam, flowing through the cosmic theme. Mountains crumble, ashes rain. Stillness speaks through joy and pain.
Thank you, guys. Okay. Let me know in the comments if you are ever finding anything difficult to understand. I am happy to provide clarification if needs be. So just, yeah, let me know. So that's the first day, guys, in the dawning of the peaceful deities from the 1st to the 7th day. Okay, so I'll get a brief breakdown of that for you, and we will move on then to the 2nd day. Okay. So the first day in the Bardo. Oh, nobly born, you have been unconscious in a swoon for the last 3.5 days. Now, as your awareness returns, you may feel confused, asking yourself, what has happened? This is the beginning of the Bardo experience, the in-between state after death. At this moment, the world of appearances begins to shift. All of samsara, the cycle of birth and death, seems to be in motion. What you now see are not external events, but radiances and deities, projections of your own mind. The sky will appear deep blue, and from the central realm, the Buddha, Vairocana, will appear, radiant and seated on a lion throne. He holds a wheel in his hand and is joined by the Mother of Infinite Space. He represents the wisdom of the Dharma Dhatu, the wisdom of ultimate reality. From his heart shines a powerful blue light, brilliant, dazzling, and intense. At the same time, a dull white light from the realm of the gods, the devas, will also appear. Because of the weight of past trauma or past karma, You may feel afraid of the clear blue light and instead feel drawn to the softer, more comfortable white light. But be aware, the dull white light leads back into the cycle of rebirth. It is a distraction. Instead, you are urged, do not fear the blue light. Do not be attached or attracted to the dull light. Recognize the blue light as the wisdom of your own mind. Place your full trust in Vairochana and pray with deep faith to be guided by his radiant presence. By doing so, you can merge into the heart of the light and attain liberation, realizing Buddhahood in Sambhogakaya form in the central realm. Okay. Hope you got that, guys. We'll move on now, guys, to the second day. But notwithstanding this setting face to face, through the power of anger or obscuring karma, one should be startled at the glorious light and flee, or be overcome by illusions despite the prayer. On the second day, Vajrasattva and his attendant deities, as well as one's evil deeds meriting hell, will come to receive one. Thereupon, the setting face to face is called the deceased by name thus: O nobly born, listen undistractedly. On the second day, the pure form of water will shine as a white light. At this time, from the deep blue eastern realm of preeminent happiness, the Bhagavan Akshobhya as a Vajrasattva, blue in color, holding in his hand a five-pronged dorji, seated upon an elephant throne embraced by the mother Mamaki, will appear to thee, attended by Bodhisattvas, Kshit, Garba, and Maitra, with the female Bodhisattvas, Lasima, and Pushpema. These six Bodhic deities will appear to thee. The aggregate of thy principle of consciousness, being in its pure form, which is the mirror-like wisdom, will shine as a brilliant, radiant white light from the heart of Vajra Sattva, the father mother, with such dazzling brilliancy and transparency that thou wilt scarcely be able to look at it, and will strike against thee. And a dull, smoke-colored light from hell will shine alongside the light of the mirror-like wisdom, and will also strike against thee. Thereupon, through the power of anger, thou wilt beget fear and be startled at the dazzling white light, and wilt wish to flee from it. Thou wilt beget a feeling of fondness for the dull smoke-colored light from hell. Act then so that thou wilt not fear that bright, dazzling, transparent white light. Know it to be wisdom. Put thy humble and earnest faith in it. That is the light of the grace of Bhagavan Vajrasattva. Think with faith, I will take refuge in it, and pray. That is Bhagavan Vajrasattva coming to receive thee and to save thee from the fear and terror of the Bardo. Believe in it, for it is the hook of the rays of grace of Vajrasattva. Be not fond of the dull, smoke-colored light from hell. That is the path which openeth out to receive thee because of the power of accumulated evil karma from violent anger. If thou be attracted by it, thou wilt fall into the hell worlds, and falling therein, thou wilt have to endure unbearable misery, whence there is not certain time of getting out. That being an interruption to obstruct thee on the path of liberation, look not at it and avoid anger. Be not attracted by it, be not weak. Believe in the dazzling bright white light, and putting thy whole heart earnestly upon the Bhagavan Vajrasattva. Pray thus. Alas, when wandering the samsara because of the power of violent anger, on the radiant light path of the mirror light wisdom, may I be led by the Bhagavan Vajrasattva. May the divine mother Mamaki be my rear guard. May I be led safely across the fearful ambush of the Bardo, and may I be placed in the state of all perfect Buddhahood. Praying thus in intense humble faith, thou wilt emerge in rainbow light into the heart of the Bhagavan Vajra Sattva and obtain Buddhahood in the Sambhoga Kaya in the Eastern realm called preeminently happy. Okay, guys, I will now get us a brief summary of day 2, and we will move on then to day 3. Okay, so just bear with me one moment. I do hope you are exceedingly well, and that this is something you are interested in. This is the Tibetan Book of the Dead. So here is a summary of the second day in the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Okay. If the soul then, guys, did not recognize the clear light on the first day due to fear, anger, or the weight of past karma, a new vision appears on the second day. Another chance at liberation, guys. From the eastern realm of the preeminent happiness, the Buddha, Vajrasattva, a radiant blue form of Akshobhya, appears. He is seated on an elephant throne holding a Vajra, which is a thunderbolt scepter, and he is embraced by the Divine Mother, Mamaki. He is accompanied by enlightened beings, the Bodhisattvas, the Kshitigarbha, the Maitreya, and others. A brilliant white light representing the mirror light wisdom shines forth from the Vajrasattva's heart. This light is dazzling and pure, almost too intense to look at. At the same time, a dull, smoky light coming from the hell realm also appears. Because of anger or ignorance, the soul may fear and may feel itself unworthy of the dazzling white light and feel drawn to the dimmer, more familiar smoky light. But this is a dangerous mistake. The dazzling white light is the path of wisdom and liberation. The smoky light leads to rebirth in the hell realms, places of intense suffering caused by violent anger. The soul is instructed, do not fear the bright light. It is the grace of Vajrasattva. Do not be drawn to the smoky light. It is the karmic path of suffering. Place full trust in Vajrasattva and pray for deep humility and faith. By recognizing the bright light as your own wisdom and praying for guidance, you may merge into the rainbow light of Vajrasattva and attain Buddhahood in the Sambhogakaya in the realm of radiant peace. There you go. We will go on now to day 3 in a moment. So the days, guys, that we're reading are the symbolic stages in the journey of consciousness through the Bardo. So don't forget, guys, the Bardo is the intermediate state between death and rebirth. And these are not literal 24-hour days, guys, but these are phases of inner experience that unfold after death. And they typically do cover a period of up to 49 days, depending on the tradition and the individual's karma, okay? So each day, guys, in the Bardo represents a different vision or experience that the soul encounters after death. And these are opportunities for liberation, where the consciousness is shown radiant lights, deities, and energies that reflect its own mind, okay? So day 1, we've read, guys. This is the appearance of Vairocana, a blue light of Dharma Dhatu wisdom. The soul is shown the clear light again, a test of whether it can recognize its true nature. And day 2 is the appearance of Vajrasattva, or the Akshobhya, It's the white light of mirror light wisdom. This is where anger can cause fear and draw the soul towards hellish rebirth. Okay, and now we'll move on, guys, to day 3. What happens after you die? This is the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and I do hope you're enjoying the read-along. Day 3, then. Yet, even when set face-to-face in this way, some persons, because of obscurations from bad karma and from pride, although the Book of Raids of Grace striketh against them, flee from it. If one be one of them, then on the 3rd day, the Bhagwan Ratna Sambhava and his accompanying deities, along with the light path from the human world, will come to receive one simultaneously. Again, calling the deceased by name and setting face to face thus: O nobly born, listen undistractedly. On the 3rd day, the primal form of the element earth will shine forth as a yellow light. At that time, from the southern realm, endowed with glory, at the Bhagwan Ratna Sambhava, yellow in color, bearing a jewel in his hand, seated upon a horse throne and embraced by the Divine Mother, Sangyay Chanma will shine upon thee. The 2 Bodhisattvas, Aksha Barba and Samanta Bhadra, attended by the 2 female Bodhisattvas, Malaima and Dupima. In all, 6 Bodic forms will come to shine from amidst a rainbow halo of light, the aggregate of touch in its primal form, as the yellow light of the wisdom of equality, dazzlingly yellow, glorified with orbs having satellite orbs of radiance, so clear and bright that the eye can scarcely look upon it, will strike against thee. Side by side with it, the dull, bluish yellow light from the human world will also strike against thy heart, along with the wisdom light. Thereupon, through the power of egotism, thou wilt beget a fear for dazzling yellow light, and wilt with to flee from it. Thou wilt be fondly attracted towards the dull, bluish yellow light from the human world. At that time, do not fear that bright, dazzling yellow, transparent light, but know it to be wisdom. In that state, keep thy mind resigned. Trust in it earnestly and humbly. If thou knowest it to be the radiance of thine own intellect, although thou exertest not thy humility and faith and prayer to it, the divine body and light will merge into thee inseparably, and thou wilt obtain Buddhahood. If thou dost not recognize the radiance of thine own intellect, think with faith. It is the radiance of the grace of the Bhagavan Ratna Sambhava. I will take refuge in it and pray. It is the hook of the grace rays of the Bhagavan Ratna Sambhava. Believe in it. Be not fond of that dull, bluish yellow light from the human world. That is the path of thine accumulated propensities of violent egotism come to receive thee. If thou art attracted by it, thou wilt be born in the human world and have to suffer birth, age, sickness, and death, and thou wilt have no chance of getting out of the quagmire of worldly existence. That is an interruption to obstruct thy path of liberation. Therefore, look not upon it and abandon egotism, abandon propensities, be not attracted towards it, be not weak. Act so as to trust in that bright, dazzling light. Put thine earnest thought one pointedly upon the Bhagavan Ratna Sambhava and pray thus: Alas, when wandering in the samsara because of the power of violent egotism on the radiant light path of the wisdom of equality, may I be led by the Bhagavan Ratna Sambhava. May the Divine Mother, she of the Buddha eye, be my rear guard. May I be led safely across the fearful ambush of the Bardo, and may I be placed in the state of all perfect Buddhahood. By praying thus with deep humility and faith, thou wilt merge into the heart of the Bhagavan Ratna Samhava, the Divine Father Mother, in a halo of rainbow light, and attain Buddhahood in the Samhogakaya, in the southern realm, endowed with glory. Guys, that was day 3 in the Bardos. What one must do. We will get a brief summary now of that so that we can digest it a little bit better, take it in, and understand it a little more, so that we can be perhaps guarded with knowledge, gnosis, upon our death. Okay, so a summary then, guys, for the third day, or the third day in the Bardo. So if the soul has not yet recognized the previous lights or awakened to its true nature, the journey continues. On the third day, a new wisdom and another Buddha appears, offering yet another chance for liberation. From the southern realm of glory, the Buddha Ratna Samhava appears, golden yellow in color, seated on a horse throne, holding a precious jewel and embraced by the Divine Mother, Sangyai Chanma. He is accompanied by luminous bodhisattvas, radiating a halo of rainbow light. A brilliant yellow light appears. This is the wisdom of equality, representing the purified element of earth. It is dazzling and almost too bright to look at. Alongside it comes a dull bluish yellow light from the human world. Because of egotism and pride accumulated in life, the soul may fear the radiant light of wisdom and feel comforted by the dimmer human light. But this, guys, is a spiritual trap. The dazzling yellow light is the light of liberation on day 3. The dull light leads to rebirth in the human world, where suffering continues through birth, aging, sickness, and death. The soul is guided. Do not be afraid of the bright light. Trust it as the radiance of your mind. Do not be drawn to the dim human light. It is the karmic pull of pride and ego. Place your full trust in Ratna Samhava, the Buddha of generosity and balance. By recognizing the yellow light as your own inner wisdom and praying with deep humility, you can merge into the rainbow light and attain Buddhahood in the Sambhogakaya, in the southern realm of glory. That, guys, was day 3 in the Bardos. After death, we will go on now soon to day 4. The 4th day in the Bardos, that place between death and rebirth. You are dead, and it is day 4. By thus being set face to face, however weak the mental faculties may be, there is no doubt of one's gaining liberation. Yet, though so often set face to face, there are classes of men who, having created much bad karma, or having failed in observation of vows or their lot for higher development, being altogether lacking, prove unable to recognize their obscurations and evil karma from covetousness and miserliness, produce all of the sounds and radiances, and they flee. If one be of these classes, then on the 4th day, the Bhagavana Mitva and his attendant deities, together with the light path from the Pretaloka, proceeding from miserliness and attachment, will come to receive one simultaneously. Again, the setting face to face is calling the deceased by name thus: O nobly born, Listen undistractedly. On the fourth day, the red light, which is the primal form of the element fire, will shine. At that time, from the red western realm of happiness, the Bhagavan Buddha Amitabha, red in color, wearing a lotus in his hand, seated upon a peacock throne, and embraced by the Divine Mother Gokarmo, will shine upon thee, together with the Bodhisattvas, Shenaris, and Jampal, attended by the female Bodhisattvas, Gurdima and Alok. The 6 bodies of enlightenment will shine upon thee from amidst a halo of rainbow light. The primal form of the aggregate of feelings as the red light of all discriminating wisdom, glitteringly red, glorified with orbs and satellite orbs. Bright, transparent, glorious, and dazzling, proceeding from the heart of the Divine Father Mother. Amitabha will strike against thy heart so radiantly that thou wilt scarcely be able to look upon it. Fear not. Along with it, the dull red light from the Preta Loka, coming side by side with the light of wisdom, will also shine upon thee. Act so that thou shalt not be fond of it. Abandon attachment and weakness for it. At that time, through the influence of intense attachment, thou wilt become terrified by the dazzling red light and wilt wish to flee from it. And thou wilt beget a fondness for that dull red light of the Preta Loka. At that time, be not afraid of the glorious, dazzling, transparent, radiant red light, recognizing it as wisdom. Keeping thine intellect in a state of resignation, thou wilt merge into it inseparably and attain Buddhahood. If thou dost not recognize it, think it is the rays of the grace of the Bhagavan Amitabha, and I will take refuge in it, and trusting humbly in it, pray unto it. That is the hook rays of the grace of the Bhagavan Amitabha. Trust in it humbly, flee not. Even if thou fleest, it will follow thee inseparably from thyself. Fear it not. Be not attracted towards the dull red light of the Preta Loka. That is the light path proceeding from the accumulations of thine intense attachment to samsaric existence, which hath come to receive thee. If thou be attached thereto, thou wilt fall into the world of unhappy spirits and suffer unbearable misery from hunger and thirst. Thou wilt have no chance of gaining liberation therein. That dull red light is an interruption to obstruct thee on the path of liberation. Be not attached to it, and abandon habitual propensities. Be not weak. Trust in the bright, dazzling red light, in the Bhagavan Amitabha, the Father Mother. Put thy trust one-pointedly and pray thus. Alas, when wandering the samsara because of the power of intense attachment, on the radiant light path of the discriminating wisdom, may I be led by the Bhagavana Mitva. May the Divine Mother, she of white raiment, be my rear guard. May I be safely led across the dangerous ambush of the Bardo, and may I be placed in the state of the all-perfect Buddhahood. By praying this humbly and earnestly, thou wilt emerge into the heart of the Divine Mother, Father Mother, the Bhagavan Amitabha, in a halo of rainbow light, and attain Buddhahood in the Sambhogakaya, in the Western realm named Happy. That, guys, was day 4. So we get a summary for day 4 now, guys. If the soul then has not recognized the previous lights or awakened to its true nature, the journey continues, guys, to day 4 that we just read. On the 4th day, another wisdom and Buddha appear. offering yet another chance for liberation. From the Western realm of bliss, the Buddha Amitabha appears red in color, seated on a lotus throne, holding a lotus flower, and embraced by the Divine Mother Pandarvasarini. He is accompanied by luminous bodhisattvas radiating a halo of rainbow light. A brilliant red light appears. This is the discriminating wisdom, representing the purified element of fire. It is dazzling and almost too bright to look at. Alongside it comes a dull reddish light from the animal world, because of desire and attachment accumulated in life. The soul may fear the radiant light of wisdom and feel comforted by the dimmer animal light. Thus, this is but a spiritual trap. The dazzling red light is the light of liberation. The dull light leads to rebirth in the animal realm, where suffering continues through ignorance and servitude. The soul is guided. Do not be afraid of the bright light. Trust in its radiance of your own mind. Do not be drawn to the dim animal light. It is the karmic pull of desire and attachment. Place your full trust in Amitabha, the Buddha of infinite light and compassion. By recognizing the red light as your own inner wisdom and praying with deep humility, you can merge into the rainbow light, folks, and attain Buddhahood in the Sambhogakaya, in the Western realm of bliss. That, guys, was day 4 in the Bardos. We'll go to the 5th day now, guys. The 5th day in the Bardos. It is impossible that one should not be liberated thereby. Yet, thus set face to face, sentient beings unable through long association with propensities to abandon propensities, and through bad karma and jealousy, awe and terror being produced by the sounds and radiances, the hook rays of grace failing to catch hold of them. Wander down also to the 5th day. If one be such a sentient being thereupon, the Bhagavan Amuga Siddhi and his attendant deities and the light and rays of his grace will come to receive one. A light producing from the Asura Loka, produced by the evil passion of jealousy, will also come to receive one. The setting face to face at this time is calling the deceased by name thus. O nobly born, listen undistractedly. On the 5th day, the green light of the primal form of the element air will shine upon thee. At that time, from the green northern realm of successful performance of the best actions, the Bhagavan Buddha, Amoga Siddhi, green in color, bearing a crossed dorji in hand, seated upon a sky-traversing harpy throne, embraced by the Divine Mother, the fateful Dolma, will shine upon thee with his attendants. The 2 bodhisattvas, Chag Nadorji and Dippanamsel, attended by 2 female bodhisattvas, Gantima and Nidhima. These 6 Bodic forms from amidst a halo of rainbow light will come to shine. The primal form of the aggregate of volition, shining as the green light of the all-performing wisdom, dazzlingly green, transparent and radiant, glorious and terrifying, beautified with orbs surrounded by satellite orbs of radiance, issuing from the heart of the Divine Father Mother. Amoga Siddhi, green in color, will strike against thy heart so wondrously bright that thou wilt scarcely be able to look at it. Fear it not. That is the natural power of the wisdom of thine own intellect. Abide in the state if of great resignation of impartiality. Along with it, that is the green light of the all-performing wisdom, a light of dull green color from the Asuraloka, produced from the cause of the feeling of jealousy, coming side by side with the wisdom rays, will shine upon thee. Meditate upon it with impartiality, neither repulsion nor attraction. Be not fond of it. If thou art of low mental capacity, be not fond of it. Thereupon, through the influence of intense jealousy, thou wilt be terrified at the dazzling radiance of the green light, and wilt with to flee from it, and thou wilt beget a fondness for that dull green light of the Asuraloka. At that time, fear not the glorious, transparent, radiant, and dazzling green light, but know it to be wisdom. And in that state, allow thine intellect to rest in resignation, or else think it is the hook rays of the light of grace of the Bhagavana Moga Siddhi, which is the all-performing wisdom. Believe thus on it, flee not from it. Even though thou shouldst flee from it, it will follow thee inseparably from thyself. Fear it not. Be not fond of that dull green light of the Asura Loka. That is the karmic path of acquired intense jealousy, which hath come to receive thee. If thou art attracted by it, thou wilt fall into the Asura Loka and have to engage in unbearable miseries of quarreling and warfare. That is an interruption to obstruct thy path of liberation. Be not attracted by it. Abandon the propensities. Be not weak. Trust in the dazzling green radiance, and putting thy whole thought one-pointedly upon the Divine Father Mother, the Bhagavan Amoga Siddhi. Pray thus. Alas, when wandering in the samsara because of the power of intense jealousy, on the radiant light path of the all-performing wisdom, may I be led by thee, Bhagavan Amoga Siddhi. May the Divine Mother, the faithful Tara, be my rear guard. May I be led safely across the dangerous ambush of the Bardo, and may I be placed in the state of all-perfect Buddhahood. Be prayer thus with intense faith and humility. Thou wilt merge into the heart of the Divine Father Mother, the Bhagavan Amoga Siddhi, in a halo of rainbow light, and attain Buddhahood in the Samhoga Hyaya, in the northern realm of the heaped up good deeds. That, guys, was day 5. And we are reading the Tibetan Book of the Dead. And we're currently going through and we're currently going through the time in the in-between state, in between death and rebirth. This is where the individual is. Hello to Night Mist, who says, why so gay voice? Jesus Christ and Holy Satan. Well, if it is sounding a bit gay, I don't know why that would be, but I do have a slight nasal blockage. So I'm sorry if I'm sounding a little nasally, but there's no need to be homophobic about your dislike of my voice, you know. But that is just your way, and you will pay with karmic comeuppance for your sins, I'm sure. In the next life. Okay, the 6th day. Being thus set face to face at various stages, however weak one's karmic connections may be, one should have recognized in one or the other of them. And where one has recognized in any of them, it is impossible not to be liberated. Yet, although set face to face so very often in that manner, one long habituated to strong propensities and lacking in familiarity with. Actually, guys, I better read the 5th day in the Bardo. the summary. Sorry, guys. So, on the fifth day in the Bardo, if the soul has not yet recognized the previous light or awakened to its true nature, the journey continues. On the fifth day, another wisdom and Buddha appear, offering yet another chance for liberation. From the northern realm of accomplished actions, the Buddha Amoga Siddhi appears, green in color, seated on a throne, holding a double vajra, and embraced by the Divine Mother Green Tara. He is accompanied by luminous bodhisattvas, radiating a halo of rainbow light. A brilliant green light appears. This is the all-performing wisdom, representing the purified element of air. It is dazzling and almost too bright to look at. Alongside it comes a dull green light from the realm of jealous gods. Because of jealousy and envy accumulated in life, the soul may fear the radiant light of wisdom and feel comforted by the dimmer azura light. But this is a spiritual trap. The dazzling green light is the light of liberation. The dull light leads to rebirth in the Azura realm, where suffering continues through constant conflict and envy. So the soul is guided on the fifth day. Do not be afraid of the bright light. Trust it as the radiance of your own mind. Do not be drawn to the dim Azura light. It is the karmic pull of jealousy and envy. Place your full trust in Amoga Siddhi, the Buddha of all accomplishing wisdom. By recognizing the green light as your own inner wisdom and praying with deep humility, you can merge into the rainbow light and attain Buddhahood in the Samhogaikya, in the northern realm of the accomplished actions. Okay, guys. I do hope you're well. If you're still with us, we will move on now to day 7. No, sorry, day 6. We're only on day 6, guys. Day 6 in the Bardos. You're dead. This is you after death, in between death and rebirth. This is possibly what's going to happen, according to the Tibetan Book of the Dead. So we will go on now and read the 6th day. Being thus set face to face at various stages, however weak one's karmic connections may be, one should have recognized in one or the other of them. And where one has recognized in any of them, it is impossible not to be liberated. Yet, although set face to face so very often in that manner, one long habituated to strong propensities and lacking in familiarity with and pure affection for. Wisdom may be led backwards by the power of one's own evil inclinations, despite these many introductions. The hook rays of the light of grace may not be able to catch hold of one. One may still wander downwards because of one's begetting, the feeling of awe and the terror of the light rays. Thereupon, all the divine fathers and mothers of the 5 orders of the Dhyani Buddhas, with their attendants, will come to shine upon one simultaneously. At the same time, the lights proceeding from the 6 lokas will likewise come to shine upon one simultaneously. The setting face to face for that is called calling the deceased by name. Thus, O nobly born, until yesterday each of the 5 orders of deities had shone upon thee, one by one, and thou hadst been set face to face. But owing to the influence of thine evil propensities, thou wert awed and terrified by them, and hast remained here till now. If thou hast recognized the radiances of the 5 orders of wisdom to be the emanations from thine own thought forms, ere this thou wouldst have obtained Buddhahood in the Sambhoga Kyaya through through having been absorbed into the halo of rainbow light in one or another of the 5 orders of the Buddhas. But now look on undistractedly. Now the lights of all 5 orders, called the lights of the union of 4 wisdoms, will come to receive thee. Act so as to know them. O nobly born, on this 6th day, the 4 colors of the primal states of the 4 elements, water, earth, fire, and air, will shine upon thee simultaneously. At that time, from the central realm of the spreading forth of sea, the Buddha, Vairocana, the divine Father Mother, with the attendant deities, will come to shine upon thee. From the eastern realm of the preeminent happiness, the Buddha, Vajrasattva, the divine Father Mother, with the attendant deities, will come to shine upon thee. From the southern realm, endowed with glory, the Buddha Ratna Samva, the divine Father Mother, with the attendant deities, will come to shine upon thee from the happy western realm of heaped up lotuses. And the Buddha Amitabha, the divine Father Mother, along with the attendant deities, will come to shine upon thee from the northern realm of perfected good deeds. The Buddha Amoghasiddhi, the divine Father Mother, along with the attendants, will come amidst a halo of rainbow light to shine upon thee at this very moment. O nobly born on the outer circle of these 5 pair of Dhyani Buddhas, the 4 doorkeepers, the wrathful ones, the victorious one, the destroyer of the Lord of Death, the horse-necked king, the urn of nectar, with the 4 female doorkeepers, the goad bearer, the noose bearer, the chain bearer, and the bell bearer, along with the Buddha of the Devas, named the one of supreme power, and the Buddha of the Asuras, named he of strong texture, and the Buddha of mankind, named the lion of the Shakyas, and the Buddha of the brute kingdom, named the unshakable lion, and the Buddha of the Pretas, named the one of the flaming mouth, and the Buddha of the lower world, named the king of truth. These, the 8 Father, Mother, doorkeepers, and the 6 teachers, and the victorious ones, will come to shine too. The all-good Father and the all-good Mother, the great ancestors of all the Buddhas, Samatha Bhadra and Samanta Bhadra, the divine Father and divine Mother, these 2 will also come to shine. These 42 perfectly endowed deities, issuing from within thy heart, being the product of thine own pure love, will come to shine. Know them. O nobly born, these realms are not come from somewhere outside thyself. They come from within the 4 divisions of thy heart, which, including its center, make the 5 directions. They issue from within there and whine upon thee. The deities, too, are not come from somewhere else. They exist from eternity within the faculties of thine own intellect. Know them to be of that nature. O nobly born, the size of all these deities is not large, not small, but proportionate. They have their ornaments, their colors, their sitting postures, their thrones, and the emblems that each holds. These deities are formed into groups of 5 pairs, each group of 5 being surrounded by a 5-fold circle of radiances. The male bodhisattvas partaking of the nature of the divine fathers, and the female bodhisattvas partaking of the nature of the divine mothers. All these divine conclaves will come to shine upon thee in one complete conclave. They are thine own tutelary deities. Know them to be such. O nobly born, from the hearts of the divine fathers and the mothers of the 5 orders, the rays of light of the 4 wisdoms united, extremely clear and fine, like the rays of the sun spun into threads, will come and shine upon thee and strike against thy heart. On the path of the radiance, there will come to shine glorious orbs of light, blue in color, emitting rays, the Dharma Dhatu wisdom itself, each appearing like an inverted turquoise cup, surrounded by similar orbs. Smaller in size, more glorious, with 5 yet smaller satellite orbs, dotted around about with 5 starry spots of light of the same nature, leaving neither the center nor the borders of the blue path light, unglorified by the orbs and the smaller satellite orbs. From the heart of the Vajrasattva, the white light path of the mirror light wisdom, white and transparent, glorious and dazzling, glorious and terrifying, made more glorious with orbs surrounded by smaller orbs of transparent and radiant light upon it, each like an inverted mirror, will come to shine. From the heart of Ratna Sambhava, the yellow light path of the wisdom of equality, glorified with the yellow orbs of radiance, each like an inverted gold cup, surrounded by smaller orbs, and these with yet smaller orbs will come to shine. From the heart of Amitva, the transparent, bright red light path of the discriminating wisdom, upon which are oars like inverted coral cups, emitting rays of wisdom, extremely bright and dazzling, each glorified with 5 satellite orbs of the same nature, leaving neither the center nor the borders of the red light path unglorified with orbs, and smaller satellite orbs will come to shine. These will come to shine against the heart simultaneously, O nobly born. All those are radiances of thine own intellectual faculties come to shine. They have not come from any other place. Be not attracted towards them. Be not weak. Be not terrified, but abide in the mood of the non-thought formation. In that state, all the forms and radiances will merge into thyself, and Buddhahood will be obtained. The green light path of the wisdom of perfected actions will not shine upon thee, because the wisdom faculty of thine intellect hath not been perfectedly developed. O nobly born, those are called the lights of the 4 wisdoms united, whence proceeds that which is called the inner path through Vajrasattva. At that time, thou must remember the teachings of the settings face to face which thou had from the Guru. If thou hast remembered the purport of the settings face to face, thou wilt have recognized all these lights which have shone upon thee as being reflection of thine own inner light, and having recognized them as intimate friends, thou wilt have believed in them and have understood them at the meeting, as a son understandeth his mother. And believing in the unchanging nature of the pure and holy truth, thou wilt have had produced in thee the tranquil flowing samadhi, and have merged into the body of the perfectly evolved intellect. Thou wilt have obtained Buddhahood in the Sambhoga Kaya, whence there is no return. O nobly born, along with the radiances of wisdom, the impure illusory lights of the 6 lokas will also come to shine. If it be asked, what are they? They are a dull white light from the Devas, a dull green light from the Asuras, a dull yellow light from human beings, a dull blue light from the brutes, a dull reddish light from the pretas, and a dull smoke-colored light from hell. These 6 thus come to shine along with the 6 radiances of wisdom, whereupon be not afraid nor be attracted towards any, but allow thyself to rest in the non-thought condition. If thou art frightened by the pure radiances of wisdom and attracted by the impure lights of the 6 lokas, then thou wilt assume a body in any of the 6 lokas and suffer sangsaric miseries, and thou wilt never be emancipated from the ocean of samsara, wherein thou wilt be whirled around and around and made to taste of the sufferings thereof. O nobly born, if thou art one who hath not obtained the select words of the Guru, thou wilt have fear of the pure radiances of wisdom, and of the deities thereof. Being thus frightened, thou wilt be attracted towards the impure sangsaric objects. Act not so. Humbly trust in the dazzling pure radiances of wisdom. Frame thy mind to faith and think the compassionate radiances of wisdom of the 5 orders of Buddhas have come to take hold of me out of compassion. I take refuge in them, not yielding to attraction towards the illusory lights of the 6 lokas, but devoting thy whole mind one pointedly towards the divine fathers and mothers. The Buddhas of the 5 orders pray thus: Alas, when wandering the samsara through the power of the 5 virulent poisons, on the bright radiance path of the 4 wisdoms united, may I be led by the 5 victorious conquerors. May the 5 orders of divine mothers be my rear guard. May I be rescued from the impure light paths of the 6 locusts, and being saved from the ambuscades of the dread of Bardo. May I be placed with the 5 pure divine realms. By thus praying, one recognizeth one's own inner light, and merging one's self therein, in at one meant. Buddhahood is attained through humble faith and ordinary devotee. The ordinary devotee cometh to know himself, and obtaineth liberation. Even the most lowly, by the power of the pure prayer, can close the doors of the 6 locusts, and, in understanding the real meaning of the 4 wisdoms reunited, obtain Buddhahood by the hollow pathway through Vajrasattva. Thus, by being set face to face in that detailed manner, those who are destined to be liberated will come to recognize the truth. Thereby, many will attain liberation. The worst of the worst, those of heavy evil karma, having not the least predilection for any religion, and some who have failed in their vows through the power of karmic illusions, not recognizing, although set face to face with the truth, will stray downwards. That, guys, was day 6. Okay, and we'll get a summary now. I do hope you are well if you joined us. We are reading the Tibetan Book of the Dead. So, do say hello if you're there, by the way. Let me know you're still with us in the land of the living and you're not in the Bardos. So day 6, the 6th day in the Bardo. So if after day 5, the soul day 6 in the Bardo. So if after day 5 in the Bardos, the soul has not yet recognized the previous lights or awakened to its true nature, the journey continues. The journey continues. You are still given more chances to be saved, to break free from the wheel of samsara. On the 6th day, the peaceful deities begin to transform, guys, into wrathful forms, offering yet another chance for liberation. From the eastern realm, the Buddha, Vairocana, reappears now in wrathful form, accompanied by wrathful deities. These deities are fierce and terrifying, but they are manifestations of the same wisdom and compassion as their peaceful counterparts. A brilliant blue light appears. This is the wisdom of Dharma Dhatu, representing the purified element of space. It is dazzling and almost too bright to look at it. Alongside it comes a dull white light from the realm of the gods, the Devas. Because of pride and attachment to pleasure accumulated in life, the soul may fear the radiant light of wisdom and feel comforted by the dimmer Deva light. But this is a spiritual trap. The dazzling blue light is the light of liberation. The dull light leads to rebirth in the Deva realm, where pleasure and pride can delay spiritual progress. So the soul is guided onwards, guys. Do not be afraid of the bright light. Trust it as the radiance of your own mind. Do not be drawn to the dim Deva light. It is the karmic pull of pride and attachment. Recognize the wrathful deities as manifestations of your own mind, not as external threats. Nothing to fear here, guys. By recognizing the blue light as your own inner wisdom and praying with deep humility, you can merge into the rainbow light and attain Buddhahood in the Sambhogakaya in the eastern region. That, guys, was the summary for day 6 in the Bardos. For those of you who have joined, we are reading the Tibetan Book of the Dead. The 7th day in the Bardos. On the 7th day, the knowledge-holding deities from the holy paradise realms come to receive on. Simultaneously, the pathway to the brute world, produced by the obscuring passion, stupidity, also cometh to receive one. The setting face to face at this time is calling the deceased by name thus, O nobly born. Listen undistractedly. On the 7th day, the vari-colored radiance of the purified propensities will come to shine. Simultaneously, the knowledge-holding deities from the holy paradise realms will come to receive one. From the center of the circle, or mandala, enhaloed in a radiance of rainbow light, the supreme knowledge-holding deity, the lotus lord of dance, the supreme knowledge holder who ripens karmic fruits, radiant with all the 5 colors embraced by the divine mother, the red Dakini, he holding a crescent knife and skull filled with blood and dancing and making the mudra of fascination with his right hand held aloft will come to shine. To the east of that circle, the deity called the earth abiding knowledge holder, white of color, with a radiating smile in his countenance, embraced by the white Dakini, the divine mother, he holding a crescent knife and a skull filled with blood, dancing and making the mudra of fascination with his right hand held aloft, will come to shine. To the south of that circle, the knowledge-holding deity called he having power over duration of life, yellow in color, smiling and radiant, embraced by the yellow Dakini, the divine mother, he holding a crescent knife and a skull, filled with blood, dancing and making the mudra of fascination, with his right hand held aloft, will come to shine. To the west of that circle, the knowledge-holding deity of the great symbol red of color, smiling and radiant, embraced by the red Dakini, the divine mother, he holding a crescent knife and a skull filled with blood, dancing and making the mudra of fascination, with his right hand held aloft, will come to shine. In the north of that circle, the deity called self-evolved knowledge holder, green of color, with a half angry, half smiling countenance, embraced by the green Dakini, the divine mother, he holding a crescent knife and a skull filled with blood, dancing and making the mudra of fascination, with his right hand held aloft, will come to shine. In the outer circle, round about these knowledge holders, innumerable bands of dakinis of the 8 places of cremation, dakinis of the 4 classes, dakinis of the 3 abodes, dakinis of the 30 holy places and of the 24 places of pilgrimage, heroes, heroines, celestial warriors, and faith-protecting deities, male and female, each bedecked with the 6 bone ornaments, having drums and thigh bone trumpets, skull timbrels, banners of gigantic human-like hides, human hide canopies, human hide bannerets, fumes of human fat incense, innumerable other kinds of musical instruments, filling with music the whole world systems and causing them to vibrate, to quake and tremble with sounds so mighty as to daze one's brain, and dancing various measures will come to receive the faithful and punish the unfaithful. O nobly born, 5 colored radiances of the wisdom of the simultaneously born, which are the purified propensities, vibrating and dazzling like colored threads, flashing radiant and transparent, glorious and awe-inspiring, will issue from the hearts of the 5 chief knowledge-holding deities, and strike against thy heart so bright that thy eye cannot bear to look upon them. At the same time, a dull blue light from the brute world will come to shine along with the radiances of wisdom. Then, through the influence of the illusions of thy propensities, thou wilt feel afraid of the radiance of the 5 colors, and, wishing to flee from it, thou wilt feel attracted towards the dull light from the brute world. Thereupon, be not afraid of that brilliant radiance of the 5 colors, nor terrified, but know the wisdom of thy own mind, for that is where it comes from. Within those radiances, the natural sound of truth will reverberate like 1,000 thunders. The sound will come with a rolling reverberation, amidst which will be heard slay, slay, and inspiring mantras. Fear not, flee not, be not terrified. Know them. That is the sounds to be off the intellectual faculties of thine own inner light. Be not attracted towards the dull blue light of the brute world. Be not weak. If thou art attracted, thou wilt fall into the brute world, wherein stupidity predominates, and suffer illimitable miseries of slavery and dumbness and stupidness, and it will be a very long time ere thou canst get out. Be not attracted towards it. Put thy faith in the bright, dazzling, 5-colored radiance. Direct thy mind one-pointedly towards the deities, the knowledge-holding conquerors. Think one-pointedly thus. These knowledge-holding deities, the heroes and the dakinis, have come from the holy paradise realms to receive me. I supplicate them all up to this day, although the 5 orders of the Buddhas of the 3 times have all exerted the rays of their grace and compassion, yet have I not been rescued by them. Alas, for a being like me, may the knowledge-holding deities not let me go downwards further than this, but hold me with the hook of their compassion and lead me to the holy paradises. Thinking in that manner, one-pointedly, pray thus. O ye knowledge-holding deities, pray hearken unto me. Lead me on the path out of your great love, when I am wandering in the samsara because of intensified propensities, on the bright light path of the simultaneously born wisdom. May the bands of heroes and knowledge holders lead me. May the bands of the mothers, the dakinis, be my rear guard. May they save me from the fearful ambuscades of the Bardo, and place me in the pure paradise realms. Praying thus in deep faith and humility, there is no doubt that one will be born within the pure paradise realms after being merged in the rainbow light into the heart of the knowledge-holding deities. All the Pandit classes, too, coming to recognize at this stage, obtain liberation, even those of evil propensities being sure to be liberated here. Here endeth the part of the great Thodol concerned with the setting face to face of the peaceful deities of the Chonyid Bardo, and the setting face to face of the clear light of the Shikai Bardo. Okay, guys, that is the 6th day, and that is the end of that section. We'll get a brief, that was the 7th day, sorry. So we'll get that summarized as well. I do hope you're exceedingly well as we read the Tibetan Book of the Day. The Tibetan Book of the Dead. Oh, I'm not with it tonight, I'm telling you. Anyway, we have somebody watching on Twitch. Hello to you. The first person to ever watch the Finding Gnosis Show on Twitch. You are a very special person indeed. You will go down in historical annals. Welcome. So, summary of the 7th day in Bardo. On the seventh day, the final day of the peaceful deity manifestations, the soul encounters the knowledge-holding deities, who embody the simultaneously born wisdom. These deities appear in the radiant mandala, surrounded by vibrant multicolored lights representing the purified aspects of consciousness. Simultaneously, a dull blue light from the animal realm also appears. Due to lingering ignorance or habitual tendencies, the soul may fear towards the brilliant lights and be drawn to the dimmer, more familiar light. However, this attraction can lead to rebirth in the animal realm, characterized by ignorance and suffering. Okay. The soul is guided. Do not fear the radiant lights. Recognize them as emanations of your own mind. Do not be drawn to the dull blue light. It leads to lower rebirth. Place your trust in the knowledge-holding deities and vibrant lights of wisdom. By acknowledging these deities as reflections of one's own enlightened nature and praying with deep humility, the soul can merge into the rainbow light and attain Buddhahood in the Sambhogakaya, entering the pure paradise realms. Okay, guys, you heard it. That's what you've got to do. We'll move on now to the dawning of the wrathful deities from the 8th to the 14th day. So now, the manner of the dawning of the wrathful deities is to be shown. In the above bardo of the peaceful deities, there were 7 stages of ambuscade. The setting face to face at each stage should have caused the deceased to recognize either at one or another stage and to have been liberated. Multitudes will be liberated by that recognition, and although multitudes obtain liberation in that manner, the number of sentient beings being great, evil karma powerful, obscurations dense, propensities too long standing, the wheel of ignorance and illusion becometh neither exhausted nor accelerated. Although all be set face to face in such detail, there is a vast preponderance of those who will wander downwards unliberated. Therefore, after the cessation of the dawning of the peaceful and the knowledge-holding deities who come to welcome one, the 58 flame-enhaloed, wrathful, blood-drinking deities come to dawn, who are the former peaceful deities in changed aspect according to the place or psychic center of the bardo body of the deceased whence they proceed. Nevertheless, they will not resemble them. This is the bardo of the wrathful deities, and they, being influenced by fear, terror, and awe, recognition becometh more difficult. The intellect, gaining not in independence, passeth from one fainting state to a round of fainting states. Yet, if one but recognize a little, it is easier to be liberated at this stage. That's interesting, guys. If it be asked why, the answer is because of the dawning of the radiances, which produce fear, terror, and awe. The intellect is undistractedly alert in one pointedness. That is why, if at this stage one do not meet with this kind of teaching, one's hearing of religious law, although it be like an ocean in its vastness, is of no avail. There are even disciplines holding abbots or bhikkhus and doctors in metaphysical discourses who err at this stage and not recognizing wander into samsara. As for the common worldly folk, what need is there to mention them? By fleeing through fear, terror, and awe, they fall over the precipices into the unhappy worlds and suffer. But the least of the devotees of the mystic Mantrayana doctrines, as soon as he sees these blood-drinking deities, will recognize them to be his tutelary deities, and the meeting will be like that of human acquaintances. He will trust them, and becoming merged into them in at once meant will obtain Buddhahood. By having meditated on the description of these blood-drinking deities while in the human world, And by having performed some worship or praise of them, or at least by having seen their painted likeness and their images upon witnessing the dawning of the deities at this stage, recognition of them will result and liberation. In this lieth the art. Again, the death of those discipline-holding abbots and doctors in metaphysical discourses who remain uninstructed in these Bardo teachings, however, assiduously, they may have devoted themselves to religious practices. And, however, in the human world, there will not come any phenomenal signs such as rainbow halo at the funeral pyre, nor bone reliquaries from the ashes. This is because when they lived the mystic or esoteric doctrines, doctrines were never held within their heart. And because they had spoken contemptuously of them, and because they were never acquainted through initiation with the deities of the mystic or esoteric doctrines, thus, when these dawn on the bardo, they do not recognize them. Suddenly, seeing what they had never seen before and engendered, they pass into the miserable states because of that. Therefore, if the observers of the disciplines and the esoteric doctrines, such signs as the rainbow halo come not, nor are bone relics, and seed-like bones ever produced from the bones of their funeral pyre. These are the reasons for it. The least of Mantrayanic devotees, who may seem to be of very unrefined manners, unindustrious, untactful, and who may not live in accordance with his vows, and who in every way may be inelegant in his habits, and even unable to perhaps to carry the practices of his teachings to a successful issue. Let no one feel disrespect for nor doubt him, but pay reverence to the esoteric or mystic doctrines which he holdeth. By that alone one obtaineth liberation at this stage. Even though the deeds of one paying such reverence may not have been very elegant while in the human world, at his death there will come at least one kind of sign, such as a rainbow radiance, a bone images, and bone relics. This is because the esoteric or mystic doctrines possess great gift waves. Those of and above the mystic Mantrayanic devotees of ordinary psychic development, who have meditated upon the visualization and perfection processes and practiced the essences or essence mantras, need not wander down this far on the Chonyid Bardo. As soon as they cease to breathe, they will be led into the pure paradise realms by the heroes and heroines and the knowledge holders. As a sign of this, the sky will be cloudless. They will merge into rainbow radiance. There will be sun showers, sweet scent of incense in the air, music in the skies, radiances, bone relics, and images from their funeral pyre. Therefore, to the abbots or discipline holders, to the doctors, and to those mystics who have failed in their vows, and to all the common people, this Thodol is indispensable. But those who have meditated upon the great perfection and great symbol will recognize the clear light at the moment of death. And obtaining the Dharmakaya, and all of them will be such as not to need the reading of this Thodol. By recognizing the clear light at the moment of death, they also will recognize the visions of the peaceful and wrathful during the Chonyid Bardo, and obtain Samyoga Kaya, or recognizing during the Sidpa Bardo, obtain Nirmanakaya, and taking birth on the higher planes, will in the next rebirth meet with this doctrine and then enjoy the continuity of karma. Therefore, this Thodol, in the doctrine by which Buddhahood may be attained without meditation, the doctrine liberating by the hearing of it alone, the doctrine which leadeth brings of great evil, karma, on the secret path, the doctrine which produceth differentiation instantaneously between those who are initiated into it and those who are not, being the profound doctrine which conferreth perfect enlightenment instantaneously. Those sentient beings who have been reached by it cannot go into the unhappy states. This doctrine and the Thodol doctrine, when joined together, being like unto a mandala of gold inset with turquoise, combine them. Thus, the indispensable nature of the Thodol being shown, there now cometh the setting face to face with the dawning of the wrathful deities in the Bardo. Okay, guys, that was day 7. And we'll get that was a very long, that was one of the longer pieces of text in the book. So we will that was just the introduction. Sorry, that wasn't day 8. That was just the introduction. We're just going to get a brief summary for that. That was a summary. Okay. And then I think we'll call it a night, guys, after I've read this. Unless anybody wants to come on and chat. I will add the link to do so. There you go. Okay. The summary for the introduction here. Just bear with me. The link is in chat, by the way, guys, if you want to come on and give any opinions on the Tibetan Book of the Dead. It'd be nice to hear your opinions on it. And if you've ever read it before, what you think of it, etc. If you have any thoughts on what happens after you die. So, guys, we're gonna. This is just a summary of days 8 to 14. That's basically what I just read. Okay, and it's the dawning of the wrathful deity. So you may remember it talks about the fact that the peaceful deities in days 1 to 7 do turn into wrathful ones, but it's the same entity, just showing a different facet of their nature. So after the initial 7 days during which the soul encounters the peaceful deities, the journey through the Bardo continues from the 8th to the 14th day. And here is when the wrathful deities appear. These deities are not separate entities, but are manifestations of the same enlightened energies as the peaceful deities, now taking on fierce and awe-inspiring forms to aid in the liberation of the soul. So the key points, guys, during this period, one must ascertain the purpose of wrathful forms. What is it? Well, the wrathful deities embody the same wisdom and compassion as their peaceful counterparts, and their terrifying appearances are designed to shock the soul into recognition, breaking through the deep-seated attachments and delusions one might have. There's an opportunity for liberation, guys. Despite their fearsome forms, these deities offer another chance for the soul to recognize the true nature of reality. If the soul can see beyond the terrifying appearances and understand them as projections of their own mind, liberation is possible. There is a role of familiarity, guys, in days 8 to 14 in the Bardos. Those who during their lifetime engage in spiritual practices involving these deities, or even those who have seen their representations, are more likely to recognize them in the Bardo and achieve liberation, guys. There's challenges for the unprepared. It's a very difficult place to be. Souls unacquainted with the teachings in Tibetan Buddhism may react with fear, misunderstanding the deities as external threats. And this fear can lead to further confusion and even result in rebirth in the lower realms. And so, guys, there's a guidance for the soul in the Tibetan Book of the Dead for this particular time, the days 8 to 14. And the guidance for the soul is thus: recognize the deities, understand that these wrathful deities are manifestations of your own mind, appearing to guide you towards liberation. Overcome fear. Do not be afraid of their fierce appearances. Embrace them with understanding and trust in their purpose. Seek liberation. Use this opportunity to break free from the cycle of rebirth by recognizing the true nature of these visions. That, guys, is the introduction to days 8 to 14 in the Bardos, that place between death and rebirth, where apparently the Tibetan Buddhists believe one goes after death. And you will either escape samsara or be born again, perhaps into a good life or a bad life, or even into hell. Anyway, King Capricornio shares the yin yang sign. Hello to King Capricornio. Hello to everybody who's watching. If you want to come on now, the text is over. We won't read any more of that. Until next time, we will resume reading it again very soon. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after. But now, if you want to come on, do feel free, and we can chat about this, that, and the thing that's on your mind.
Shadows whisper truths untold. In this void I find my role. Oh, spirits guide me through the stream. Life and death are but a dream. Bardo's echo rides the beam, flowing through the cosmic theme. Mountains crumble, ashes rain. Stillness speaks through joy and pain. Climbing higher, I'll shed my chain, till only the essence will remain. Through the veil the visions spin, wheels of karma turn within. Breath by breath I start again, melting in the eternal skin. Life and death are but a dream. Bardo's echo rides the beam, flowing through the cosmic theme. Heart to sky and dust to ground, rising where no end is found. Silence hums its endless sound. In the void, my soul is bound. To sky and dust to ground, rising where no end is found. Silence hums its endless sound. In the void, my soul is bound. To sky and dust to ground, rising where no end is found. Silence hums its endless sound. In the void, my soul is bound. Winds of silence blow through my soul. Paths unknown begin to unfold. Shadows whisper truths untold. In this void I find my role. Oh, spirits guide me through the stream. Life and death are but a dream. Bardo's echo rides the beam, flowing through the cosmic theme. Mountains crumble, ashes rain. Stillness speaks through joy and pain. Climbing higher, I'll shed my chain, till only the essence will remain. Through the veil the visions spin. Wheels of karma turn within. Breath by breath I start again, melting in the
Okay, guys, if nobody wants to come on, we can end the show. Yeah. The problem is divine copyright issues. I always get copyright strikes on my channel when I play real music. It's annoying. So, guys, if nobody wants to come on and talk, that's fine. We can end the show. It's absolutely fine. If you're not in the mood to talk, then I don't want to force you. But we can chat another day. So no problem. So guys, if you'd like to come on, let me know in the chat. If not, we'll end it there and everybody can go away and do their own thing. That's cool, and we'll reconvene next time. Just let me know if you want to come on or not. I appreciate that. There's a JE and Divine Hazel. Do you guys want to come on or not? If not, it's fine. Honestly, I don't mind. We can chat another time if you want. Okay, guys, we'll end the show there then. I'll just let you guys listen to this music if you want, seeing as JE likes it. No problem. JE, just write in comments when you're done listening. I'll check back periodically to see if you're still there. And if you're not, then I'll end the show.
Wine